Now, as was recently the argument by Fulton in Fannyland in Adams versus Fulton County, Adams had a mandatory duty to certify the election results because shall is a command. So he's saying, you guys know this. The court finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the Board of Commissioners has failed to comply with this court's order. This court finds that it is appropriate to hold the board in civil contempt.
And this is just another arena in which they are trying to chip away at free and fair elections and our right to vote and our right to have a democracy.
Are you out of your mind, lady? You are ordered to appoint other people to your board. What are you screeching about democracy for? $10,000 a day. That's the fine that's now going to be imposed unless these Fulton County Democrats comply with the court order. Here is a big one that just came down. Georgia Recorder got us the background on it and actually got us the official order from Georgia. And some of the Georgia documents are a little hard to get from time to time. But here is what has happened. So in this case, and it's not the actual PDF, so we're gonna have some fun reading this one. But here is what they wrote in the document, because this is how the fine is coming about. So they write, in the Superior Court of Fulton County, the court conducted a hearing on this. This is a battle between the Fulton County Elections Board and whether Republicans can get on the board. Currently, they're saying, no, you can't. And now we're in a contempt proceeding. They write, the court ordered a further hearing today on the request from the plaintiffs' Republicans. The Republicans are suing the Fulton County Board of Commissioners. We had a hearing and the Republicans asked for civil and criminal penalties on the election board because of their failure to comply with a prior court order called a writ of mandamus that required them to appoint the Republican Party's chief officer's nominee to the Board of Elections. Okay, court said that guy goes right there. The Elections Board of Commissioners says, no, he's not. Court issued a writ of mandamus to do it. Now we're in contempt. Why didn't you not do it? They had a hearing. Now the judge issues an order. On the court's direction, Fulton County provided the minutes of the board meeting that did in fact show Commissioner Thorne moved to approve the nominations of these two people, Julie Adams and Jason Frazier, to the Board of Elections. Vice Chairman Ellis seconded the motion, but the motion failed when Commissioners Barrett and Ivory voted nay. Three other commissioners were absent, Pitt, Arrington, and Abdul Rahman. Now, the essential argument of the defense, so this is the Board of Commissioners, is that the court should stay the enforcement of the previous order, okay? The writ of mandamus where you said, make us put those people on, just stay that and let us appeal. Saying the court has already addressed that though. And we rejected that order because what it appears is happening, the obvious harm is happening right now. The people who should be nominated are not nominated. And from the evidence of the conduct of the two of the commissioners as shown at the hearing, it is clear to the court that they will gladly use the appeal process to prevent the nominees from serving, right? So in other words, if we allow you to appeal, you're just going to drag this thing out indefinitely. Now, as the court noted during the hearing, the local legislation does not include language authorizing the commission to veto the selection of a nominee. And it doesn't authorize the commission to require a specific number of nominees. And it also says that you shall appoint the nominees submitted by the party executive officer if they're qualified. Now, as was recently the argument by Fulton in Fannyland in Adams versus Fulton County, Adams had a mandatory duty to certify the election results because shall is a command. So he's saying, you guys know this. The court finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the Board of Commissioners has failed to comply with this court's order. This court finds that it is appropriate to hold the board in civil contempt. And the court imposes a fine of $10,000 per day, commencing at 12 p.m. on Friday, coming soon. And the fine shall continue to accrue daily until such time as the commission shall actually appoint the Republican Party's people. And we want that 10 G's every day by close of business. Fine is to be paid daily, which will hurt. 10 G's is a painful one to spend. Now, normally you'd say, well, the government's going to pay themselves a fine? Kind of, but it's coming out of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners money. And rather than going to Fulton County, they say, the court's going to take it. You pay that 10 G's to the clerk of the Superior Court, and then we're going to send it to the state general fund. So your budget comes to us and we just give it back to the state. So the distinction between criminal and civil contempt is higher, right? It says there's limitations to that. So he's not going to hold them in criminal contempt, unfortunately. He says the court declines to hold them in criminal contempt, but the court notes that two of the commissioners voted to make the appointments. Three others were absent. The court also does not find it appropriate to impose the sanctions for criminal contempt since none of these actions were in the immediate presence of the court, and the court is not imposing punishment for past disobedience, but instead to coerce future compliance with the court order. We've attached a copy of the minute entries from the meeting where they made these people appointed or had the battle over over it. The court does not find that the respondent board of commissioners does find, the court does find that the respondent board of commissioners has been stubbornly litigious and acted in bad faith in its conduct prior to this litigation by its failure to comply with clear local legislation, which forced them to sue the Republicans. The court further finds that it has caused the plaintiff, Republican Party, unnecessary difficulty in the conduct of this litigation by not complying with the court order. And so this court is also going to award attorney's fees, yes, incurred in both the bringing of this case to compel compliance with the relevant local legislation and for the intentional failure to comply with this court's order. We reserve ruling on the amount of those fees and what the attorney's fees will cost, because they still might be accruing, since its determination requires a hearing absent a stipulation by the parties. So nice ruling from David Emerson, presiding judge in the Fulton County Superior Court. So it's the chief top dog over there. It's the big David, senior judge of Superior Courts. And as we saw in his decision, he was saying they were being unnecessarily litigious and just very aggressive. And one of the people who is on that side is this woman. Her name is Dana Barrett. She's on the commissioner board, and she's very interested in ethics and equality, and she's an outspoken advocate and all the things. But what she's up to is now posting videos about what they're going to do and how they're going to pay this $10,000 a day fine, and it's going to be a lot. So this came over from our friend CanCon Actual on X, and he explains 3 Fulton County Board of Commissioners are refusing to appoint lawfully appointed people. They shall be appointed. They got $10,000 a day in fines now coming down the pike. And here is what one of these unlawfully acting commissioners has to say.
Is the Fulton County Board of Commission meeting day, and we have a couple really important agenda items that I want to make you aware of. First of all, we'll be having an emergency add-on to our agenda to respond to the judge's order that we as a board appoint the election deniers, Jason Frazier and Julie Adams.
Election deniers.
Unfortunately,
right.
The court has ruled against us, which I
Should we have a bunch of election riggers on there instead of the election deniers?
Is the wrong ruling. We've tried to get a stay from the Court of Appeals. That was denied. And so we will likely have to take this up today. And, our elections are under attack in this country. We're seeing it with, obviously, in Texas. We're seeing it all over the country in different ways. And now they're talking about taking away mail-in ballots and electronic voting. And this is just another arena in which they are trying to chip away at free and fair elections and our right to vote and our right to have a democracy.
Are you out of your mind, lady? You are ordered to appoint other people to your board. What are you screeching about democracy for? All right, but here's another one. Mo Ivory, and you can just see where this is going.
I'm built for this. And those who oversee elections must be fully independent and accountable. My vote today not to appoint the 2 Republican nominees to the Board of Elections, Registrations and Elections is my standing on my principles, whether the millage rate or about MAGA Republicans. I'm going to do what is right.
Okay, so what is right for her is giving people who are duly appointed no power, right, to kick them off in the name of democracy. So the mechanics of democracy are only useful as long as they achieve their political ends.
And nobody can force me
like an 8-year-old.
To vote yes on something that I have the discretion to use my research, my facts, my intelligence to make a decision for myself. It's dangerous to start opening the door to judges telling elected officials how they should vote. And I'll stand on that every day.
Yeah, great job. Thanks for reading your prepared statement there and doing a terrible job at it and talking to us like an 8-year-old. No one can tell me what to do. You're not my dad. From CanCon Actual, thanks for the links. And of course, we'll keep our eye on this. I hope that these people have their credit cards out, right? $5,000 for her, $5,000 for her, every single day until you follow the law.